this video, I'm going to explain the difference between distance and displacement. And I'll be only considering a one-dimensional motion. So it's basically just the x-axis. So it could be to the left or to the right. But I'll get into that later. So the first difference between distance and displacement is that distance is a scalar value and displacement is a vector, which means distance will not have a direction and displacement will. Another very big difference between distance and displacement is that displacement will only take into consideration the difference between the initial position and the final position, whereas distance is the total movement. So pretty much how far an object has traveled regardless of the direction it has gone. So the total distance traveled. So you can consider distance as a total and displacement as just a difference in position. So now let me show you an example of what I mean by this. Let's say there's a road and your starting position is here. So I'll call this x1. And you move into x2, which is the final position. So you're doing this. In this case, distance and displacement are the same thing. Let's consider x1 to be 0 and x2 to be 90. So displacement is found using the formula x2 minus x1. That is going to be our displacement. That will be 90 minus 0, so 90. Distance is just the whole thing. So you will basically add up every movement. In this case, there's only one movement, so our distance s is 90. Again, in this case, distance and displacement are the same thing. Now let me show you another example. Let's say we have the same road, but now it's a little longer. This is our x1, this is x2, x2, x1, and let's say we also have an x3. We said that this was 0, this was 90, and let's say this one is 180. In this case, your movement was, you moved from x1 to x2, then you moved from x2 to x3, and then you move back from x3 to x2. So right now you're right here. In this case, distance can be calculated by adding everything up. So S will be, you went from 0 to 90, so that's 90. Then you went from 90 to 180, that is 90 more. And then you went from 180 to 90, that is 90 more. So it doesn't matter if you went back, you're adding all your movement up. And that is going to be 270. Like say with these meters. So you walk 270 meters. That is the distance you traveled. For the displacement though, we want the difference in position. So your final position is x2, which is 90, and your initial position is x1, which is 0. So it's going to be 90 minus 0, and the displacement is 90. And because it's a vector, we need to say its direction, so let's say it's to the right, or x. So now you can picture how distance takes into account every single step you make. It doesn't matter if you go forward or backward, it still adds it up. And displacement just takes into account your final position, and your initial position. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it and found it useful. And if you did, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to see more videos like this one.